Imagine losing like a $50,000 consulting contract, not because your pitch was flawed or, your pricing was too high.
Right, something totally outside of that.
Exactly. But simply because a prospective client typed your company name into Google Maps, hit Street View, and saw a picture of a suburban duplex with a rusty bicycle on the lawn.
Oh, man, yeah. I mean, it happens far more often than business owners realize.
Really? Just from a Street View search?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That single image can just instantly dismantle months of careful brand building. It's brutal.
Wow. And, well, that is exactly what we are dismantling today. Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Glad to be here.
Our mission today for you listening is to completely upend how you think about your business address. We're looking at this concept called the neighborhood effect.
Which is brought to light by Brandnook, a workspace provider we're looking at today.
Right. And the core argument they make here is that a business address is not just some, administrative trivia. It's not just a place to receive mail.
No, not at all.
It is this highly strategic, public-facing asset, and it is actively shaping client perception before you ever even say hello.
Which is just absolutely critical right now because, think about it. We are operating in an environment of total information overload.
Oh, for sure. Everyone is just drowning in content.
Right. If you are a client looking to hire a firm, you are constantly bombarded with polished marketing copy. You've got AI-generated websites popping up everywhere.
Yeah, literally anyone can spin up a beautiful digital storefront in an afternoon now.
Exactly. Because of that, a physical address is actually one of the very few pieces of concrete, verifiable data that a prospect can evaluate up front.
It anchors it, right?
Yeah, it anchors a theoretical online business in actual physical reality.
Okay, let's unpack this because that creates an immediate glaring contradiction to me.
How so?
Well, if physical addresses are this ultimate anchor of reality, how do we reconcile that with the fact that a massive portion of the economy is currently working from their living rooms or a co-working space or like a noisy coffee shop?
Right, the whole remote work explosion.
Yeah. The Brandnook piece references some pretty staggering numbers from Upwork's Freelance Forward report.
Yes, the 2023 data.
Right. They're talking about 64 million Americans doing freelance work.
Which is wild.
It's massive. That is 38% of the U.S. workforce. So the actual physical location where the typing happens, where the work gets done, is completely divorced from the address a business uses on its tax returns.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, that decoupling is exactly why the neighborhood effect is more powerful now than it was, say, 50 years ago.
Wait, really? More powerful now?
Yes, absolutely. Historically, if you had an address on Wall Street, people assumed you were a high-powered financial firm because you literally had to sit at a desk on Wall Street to do the work.
Right. You couldn't trade stocks from your kitchen table in 1970.
Exactly. The location and the work were the exact same thing. But today, because you can work from anywhere, choosing an address is no longer an administrative default. It is a highly intentional act of market positioning.
I see. So it's not just putting a pin on a map out of necessity.
Right.
I was thinking about this earlier, and it feels like a business address is essentially the cover of the book for a modern company.
Oh, that's a great way to frame it.
Right. Because people know they shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but we all inevitably do it anyway. It's like this invisible metric buyer's check to pre-qualify you.
Yeah, they use it to evaluate you before they even bother to look at your actual portfolio or your service list. And just like a book cover, your address is signaling a whole cluster of underlying data points to the market without you having to say a single word.
Like what kind of data points?
Well, when a business intentionally chooses a specific commercial address, they are signaling proximity to their target clients, for one.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
They are also implying a connection to local industry networks, access to talent pools in that area, and honestly, even a capacity for future expansion. It shows they are rooted somewhere real.
But let's get into the actual mechanism of that, because it's one thing to say an address signals proximity to talent on this big macro level.
Right.
But I want to know how this string of numbers actually influences a single solitary client who is just sitting at their computer trying to make a decision.
The micro level.
Yeah. Put yourself in the buyer's shoes. You need a service. You are comparing 3 different agencies. How does the address fundamentally alter that psychological evaluation?
It alters it by mitigating risk.
Risk mitigation, okay.
And this is vital. An address is rarely going to dictate the final sale on its own. If your service is terrible, a fancy zip code won't save you.
Right. You still have to be good at what you do.
Exactly. Expertise, pricing, and service still rule. But what an aligned professional address does is remove unnecessary uncertainty from the buying process. Modern buyers do not trust single sources of information anymore.
No, we definitely don't. We cross-reference everything.
They absolutely cross-reference. They look at your website, and then they immediately open a new tab to check your Google business profile.
Yep, and the online reviews.
Right to reviews, and even state licensing boards if it's that kind of profession.
I do that constantly. If I am hiring, say, a contractor or a consultant, I'm instantly cross-referencing their digital footprint to see if the whole story holds up. Like, does this person actually exist where they say they exist?
Exactly. And when a buyer cross-references your business and sees a consistent commercial address across all of those digital touch points, it validates the story.
It proves you aren't just a ghost.
Right. It is especially critical in what we can call the expertise economy.
The expertise economy, like businesses selling knowledge.
Yes. Think about consultants, agencies, accountants, legal professionals, tech firms. These are businesses selling their knowledge and their time.
Right. They are selling intangibles. You can't just pick up their product, hold it in your hand, and inspect the craftsmanship before you buy it.
Precisely. If you buy a physical product and it breaks, you just return it. The risk is pretty low.
Yeah, you just ship it back to Amazon or whatever.
Right. But if you hire a legal professional, you are being asked to trust their knowledge and their expertise long before you can actually experience the outcome of their work.
Oh, that is a huge leap of faith for a buyer.
It is. Because the product is invisible up front, the buyer relies heavily on public-facing proxies, like a physical address, to gauge your credibility.
Okay, but I'm going to push back on this a little bit because I think there might be a flaw in that logic.
Okay, let's hear it.
Let's take the accountant example. If I am a world-class accountant, right? I have all the certifications, I know the tax code inside and out, and I can legally save a corporate client thousands of dollars a year.
Sure.
Why on earth should they care if my registered LLC address happens to be my residential kitchen table? The math is the math, right? A commercial address doesn't make my spreadsheet skills any sharper.
That's a fair point, but
So what does this all mean for the genuinely highly skilled professional who just happens to work from home? Why should they care about the neighborhood effect?
what's fascinating here is that you are assuming the buyer evaluates your math skills first,
Well, yeah, I'm hiring an accountant.
but they don't. They evaluate your stability first.
Oh.
Yeah, when a buyer looks up that world-class accountant and sees a residential apartment number, it triggers immediate cognitive dissonance.
Because the story doesn't match the picture.
Exactly. The brand is promising premium, enterprise-level financial security, but the physical footprint looks like a weekend side hustle.
Ah, okay. So it's not that they think you are suddenly bad at math. It's that the mismatch creates this tiny psychological speed bump.
Yes, it creates a split second of friction. They suddenly start asking distracting defensive questions.
Like, are they going to disappear tomorrow?
Right. They ask, are they fully established? Do they have proper data security for my tax files in that apartment? Will they even still be in business next year if I get audited?
Wow, yeah. Those are not the questions you want your client asking during a pitch.
Definitely not. The address itself doesn't magically create trust out of thin air, but an aligned commercial address stops the buyer from asking those defensive questions in the first place.
It neutralizes the friction.
Exactly. It neutralizes the friction so the buyer can stop playing amateur detective and actually focus on the value you're offering, the thousands of dollars you can save them.
That makes total sense. It just clears the administrative noise out of the way.
Exactly.
But that creates a massive logistical track, doesn't it? I mean, if satisfying that psychological need for stability absolutely requires a commercial address, how does a lean startup actually pull that off?
Well, that's the big challenge.
Yeah, because we just established that 38% of the workforce is operating flexibly. The traditional solution was to go out and sign a 5-year lease for a massive, expensive downtown office.
Which is incredibly expensive.
Right, and doing that completely destroys the financial advantage of being a remote, agile business in the first place.
And that is exactly where the strategic design of a company's footprint has fundamentally changed. You no longer have to lease the physical space just to leverage the address.
Okay, so how do you do it?
This is where virtual solutions come into play, like those provided by Brandnook.
Ah, the virtual office.
Right. But before we get into the mechanics of virtual offices, we have to understand the sheer operational necessity of getting your address right from day one. because choosing an address isn't just about finding the cheapest or most convenient spot.
It's about the long game.
Exactly. It has to support your long-term objectives and the specific communities you serve. It establishes a permanent digital anchor.
The source material actually gives a really practical geographic example of this.
The Indiana one, right?
Yeah, they mention a business operating in central Indiana. If that business knows their primary client base is going to be in Indianapolis, using a recognized Indianapolis commercial address instantly strengthens their local relationships.
Oh, absolutely.
Even if the founder is actually sitting there working from a laptop 50 miles outside the city, that Indianapolis address signals to local algorithms and to the local clients that they are integrated into that specific community.
And that local signaling is just crucial for search engine algorithms. They heavily prioritize proximity and consistency.
But beyond just the marketing and the SEO, there is a pretty brutal logistical reality to this too, right?
Oh, the compliance side.
Yeah, because a business address has to be identical across everything. Your LLC formation documents, your IRS filing.
It's like tax registrations.
Right, your business bank accounts, commercial insurance policies, client contracts, and all your invoices.
It touches every single part of the business infrastructure.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because if you try to bootstrap this by just using your home address on day one, right, and then your business scales and you decide to try and change it a year later.
It is an absolute nightmare.
I was thinking it's like trying to change your phone number after you've already printed 1 million business cards and plastered them on billboards all over town. It's just an administrative disaster.
It is actually worse than changing a phone number because the cascading failures are directly tied to legal compliance.
Oh, right, because of the state and the IRS.
Exactly. If you change your address, you have to update the Secretary of State, you have to update your banking records, and if you miss just one state tax portal, you can literally fall out of compliance and face penalties.
That sounds incredibly stressful.
It's a massive drain on operational resources. And that is why establishing a permanent, consistent commercial address from the very beginning is so vital. You avoid the nightmare entirely.
So this is the exact gap that virtual offices fill then.
Precisely.
You purchase a virtual office membership, which gives you this legitimate, professional commercial address to use on all of that paperwork. Plus, you get secure mail handling, but you do it without the overhead of actually leasing a physical room 24/7.
You get the stability of the public profile without the financial anchor of the real estate.
But, and this is a massive but in the source material, there are very strict rules about how you actually deploy a virtual office. You can't just pick a random fancy skyscraper online and slap it on your website, right?
No, definitely not. This raises an important question about legal compliance and operational transparency.
Because it's not a loophole.
Right. Virtual offices are incredibly powerful tools, but they are not invisibility cloaks. When you choose a virtual address, you have to ensure it actually meets the specific legal and regulatory requirements for your industry.
Can you give an example of that? Like, where would that trip someone up?
Sure. So commercial banking algorithms have become incredibly sophisticated lately with their Know Your Customer regulations.
Oh, the KYC stuff?
Exactly. If you try to open a business bank account using a registered address that the bank's algorithm flags as a residential home or, a cheap retail P.O. box,
What happened?
they will often just automatically freeze or reject the application.
Wait, really? So it's not even a human reviewing it and saying, this looks weird. It's just a system automatically rejecting your risk profile.
Yep, automatic rejection. And the same exact thing applies to commercial liability insurance.
Oh, wow.
Sure.
I didn't even think about insurance.
Yeah, underwriters calculate risk based on the primary business address. So if the address doesn't match the risk profile of the business you claim to be running, it throws a massive red flag in their system.
So a virtual office must be an actual legally recognized commercial address that satisfies those institutional algorithms.
Correct. It has to be a real commercial building.
And, it isn't just about satisfying algorithms. There is a very real ethical line here regarding how you present yourself to the client.
Absolutely.
Using a virtual office shouldn't be about, deceiving a prospect into thinking you own the entire penthouse of a high-rise.
Transparency is non-negotiable here. A virtual office isn't about tricking clients. It is simply a way of providing credible, practical support for your operations without creating a misleading impression. It is a way of telling the market, look, this is our professional corporate hub, this is where our legal correspondence is securely managed, and this is where we have the infrastructure to host you for a meeting.
While still being honest that you work flexibly.
Exactly. You are remaining entirely honest about the fact that your team operates flexibly day to day. You aren't tricking anyone. You are just organizing your business professionally.
Which brings us to the ultimate friction point.
Okay, what's that?
Well, you've pleased the banking algorithms. You've established this flawless, consistent digital footprint. You've mitigated the client's psychological risk.
Right, the digital side is perfect.
But a business is not purely theoretical. At some point, you actually have to interact with the physical world.
You do.
So what happens when that premium client actually wants to meet you face to face? Or you need to get your team out of their living rooms for a collaboration day.
That is where the physical reality behind the virtual facade becomes the final test of the neighborhood effect.
The physical reality.
Yes. The workspace behind that address is what turns it from a compliance tool into a genuinely functional asset. And the way we use physical space right now is transforming just as fast as the remote work trends we talked about earlier.
Right, they go hand in hand.
Exactly. The source actually points to Gallup's hybrid work indicator.
Oh, yeah, the Gallup data.
Yeah, and it shows that over half of all remote-capable employees in the U.S. are now working in some kind of hybrid arrangement.
Over half. Which means the old binary way of thinking like, we are completely in an office versus we are completely remote is just dead.
It's completely dead.
The reality is incredibly fluid now, which means the physical space has to be fluid too.
Exactly. Different spaces serve very different operational needs. Modern businesses require physical workspaces that can adapt to shifting needs, not, rigid leases.
What does that look like in practice?
Well, if a founder just needs to get out of their house and do some networking, a co-working environment encourages that energy perfectly.
Right, lots of people, open space.
Yeah. But if a small team is collaborating on a sensitive project, they don't want an open floor plan. They need semi-private cubicles that offer consistency for growing teams without total isolation.
And what if privacy is the main concern?
Like if you are a legal professional dealing with highly confidential client data, you absolutely require a private office with real acoustic privacy.
You can't have people overhearing that stuff.
Exactly. And honestly, everyone, regardless of their daily setup, eventually needs access to a fully equipped professional meeting room for client presentations.
And what I found really brilliant in this research is how these flexible workspace models allow a business to scale their physical footprint up and down, but, and this is the key, while keeping the exact same address.
Yes, that continuity is huge.
You could literally start as a solo consultant, right?
Yeah.
Using a virtual office membership for $50 a month.
Yep.
2 years later, you land massive accounts, you hire a team of 4, so you move into a private office suite in the exact same building.
Right, you scale up.
Your physical overhead grew, but your address, the one on your LLC, your website, your bank accounts, it never changed. The continuity is completely preserved from day one.
It is the ultimate combination of public stability and internal flexibility. But, there is one final critical layer to this physical interaction.
What's that?
It comes down to brand alignment and brand expectations.
Ah, yeah. Think about this for a second if you're listening. How do you make sure the physical space you rent for a day doesn't completely clash with the premium, high-end brand you've built online?
It's a huge risk.
It is. If you have spent years cultivating a reputation as a premium, high-end consulting firm, your website probably reflects that. Your pricing definitely reflects that.
Naturally.
But what happens if you invite a client to a physical meeting room and they walk into a space with, flickering fluorescent lights, stained carpets, and Wi-Fi that keeps dropping out during the presentation?
The illusion is completely shattered.
Instant.
The trust you built digitally just evaporates in seconds. And this is where the neighborhood effect comes full circle.
Right.
The address set the expectation in the client's mind before they ever arrived. The physical space now has to deliver on that exact expectation.
It has to match.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is not merely about having a desk and a chair. It is about the holistic sensory experience of the environment. Every single client interaction in that space must feel intentional and reinforce the brand's promises.
Right. And it starts long before they sit down. It starts the second they pull their car in. Like, is there convenient, safe visitor parking?
Exactly. Is the lobby access smooth and professional? Or are they, wandering around some dark hallway looking for a suite number on a piece of paper taped to a door?
Oh, I've had that happen. It feels so sketchy.
It does. And think about the meeting itself. Is the acoustic environment actually conducive to a confidential conversation? Or can they hear the person next door eating lunch?
Right.
Is the technology infrastructure robust enough to handle a high-stakes video conference without buffering?
Because if the Wi-Fi drops during a pitch for a $100,000 contract, the client isn't blaming the internet provider.
No, they are blaming you.
Exactly. They're walking away feeling like your entire operation is unstable, regardless of how good the actual proposal was.
Precisely. When your physical workspace completely aligns with your brand's digital promises, you aren't just renting a room for an hour.
What are you doing then?
You are deploying a strategic environment. An environment that proves to the client that the professionalism they saw online is authentic in the real world.
Right.
You are closing the loop on the trust you established with the address.
Closing the loop. I like that. So, to synthesize all of this for you listening today, the neighborhood effect is fundamentally a story about alignment.
Yes.
When your address, your physical workspace, and your long-term business goals support one another, it strengthens every single client interaction.
It really does.
We started this deep dive looking at a business address as just a boring string of numbers, administrative trivia.
It's just a place for mail.
Right. But when you understand the mechanics of it, when your address satisfies those strict compliance algorithms, when it removes the psychological friction for your buyers, and when the physical workspace seamlessly backs up your brand's promises, it becomes a massive competitive advantage.
It's far more than a place to receive mail. It's a long-term business asset that works just as hard as your marketing team.
It allows a lean, modern, flexible business to project the established credibility of a legacy firm.
But without taking on the restrictive financial anchor of legacy real estate.
Exactly. So just remember, long before a proposal is requested, long before a discovery call is ever even scheduled, your public details are already telling your story to the market.
You're being evaluated, categorized, and filtered before you even know the evaluation is happening.
So make sure you're telling the right story.
Absolutely. And that leads to a dynamic I want to leave everyone with today, something to mull over.
Oh, let's hear it.
Think about your own favorite local businesses, consultants or agencies that you've hired. How much of your trust in them was unconsciously built by their physical footprint and their address before you ever even shook their hand or sent them an email?
Oh, wow. That is a really provocative thought. I know I've definitely judged businesses based on where they were located without even realizing I was doing it.
We all do it.
Yeah.
The cover of the book will always matter, and your address is the cover of your business.
That is the perfect place to wrap up. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the neighborhood effect. We'll catch you next time.